Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for Coffee and Conversation. I am so glad that you can be here today. We have a special guest. We have Emily, who is joining us for Coffee and Conversations, but also does much more in the church. Do you want to give a brief introduction on who you are and what you're doing for our church?
Of course.
Yay.
Hello. We may or may not have met before. My name is Emily Knorr. I'm a recent graduate from UMHB. And here at the church, I work as the music worship intern, as well as working in MDO, where there are currently toddlers napping away. And I've also started to work with Kelly on the website, which is going really well. We'll be okay.
You're the Jack of all trades, or the Jill of all trades, or
I'm
the Emily of all trades.
Yes. And now I'm here at Coffee and Conversation.
Well, we're so glad that you're here. We thought it would be fun to bring Emily in because we are going to continue our discussion about influential women in the Bible. And so why not have a woman join me so that we can have a women's coffee and conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to kind of pick up with the influential women of the Bible, but we also want to tie in Sunday's sermon where Jeff talked about hope. And he talked about how it is important, no matter what you are going through, to have that hope in your life. So what I was thinking about, Emily, was different women in the Bible. One of the ones that's really influential to me that I mentioned last week was Mary Magdalene.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think she is a beacon of hope. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Mary Magdalene, but before I do that, I wanted to ask if you have a woman in the Bible that stands out to you.
Yeah, well, that's one of the nice things about being here is Jeff is no stranger to going ahead and bringing up the influential woman talk. We hear a lot about the amazing women in the Bible. And one of my personal favorites and one of the first books I ever read out of the Bible was actually Esther.
Okay.
And she is definitely one of my favorite influential women from the Bible.
Absolutely. And she has given a lot of hope. She had a lot of hope back then and is helps women maintain hope today. So I think she's super important. Did you know that there are only 2 books in the Bible named after a woman, and one of them is Esther?
I know.
Yes.
See?
Yes.
That's why it was one of the first ones I picked.
There you go.
Because when I was getting back into it, I was like, what do I do first? I was like, look for the ladies.
Yes, I like it. So she did. She was a beacon of hope back then. Why don't you tell a little brief summary of her story?
Yeah, of course. So to take it to the bare bones so that we keep this going, Esther was a Jewish woman who was living in the time of King Xerxes, and she eventually gained favor with the king and became his queen. And then there was a minor uprising schism, and they're like, how are we going to deal with this? They're like, I know what we'll do. We will do a mass genocide of the Jewish people. And when Esther's family learned about this, they asked her and they begged her to do something and to talk to the king about it. And at first she was like, how could I do that? I could lose everything. I could even die if I tried to do this. And then her family was like, Esther, please, everyone could die if you don't. And so she took it upon herself to do what needed to be done in order to save the Jewish people. And she is just incredible.
And she succeeded. She is
a great book.
It is. It is a great book. And throughout her life, she faced so many challenges, and she maintained that hope.
She really
She
did.
always had hope, and she always tried, and she strived to do her best. And I don't think a person can do that without maintaining that hope. And so, God chose her for a reason, and I think part of that is that he knew that she would hold on to that hope.
Yeah, it's true.
So she was really influential in biblical days. How do you think Esther's story influences women today?
I know that I can't speak on behalf of every woman, but I do feel personally that it led me to be able to deal with a lot of confrontations that I didn't want to. There are plenty of times where you could turn and walk away from something, but knowing that there are people out there who are willing to risk everything, every single thing, in order to do the right thing really led me to make sure that in certain situations I was doing what needed to be done. There were times in school, even in college, where people would say mean things to other people, and you can sit by and do nothing and make sure that you're preserving and maintaining those friendships, or you can do the hard work, which is to go and tell your friends it's not okay to treat people like that. And that was one of the things that I had to do in school, and it was terrifying. And I spent a lot of my time after that confrontation shaking like a leaf. And so I can't imagine how she must have felt when she was like, you can't kill these people. And she's speaking on behalf of everyone. I was just speaking on behalf of one person. I thought I was going to faint. And so to understand that there are people out there who are willing to do even more than those small burdens that we have is just incredible.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think that no matter what challenge you face, big or small, it's always big for you.
That's
and
true.
So the gravity of the experience that you experienced versus what Esther experienced, like, it is different, but it weighed on you the same way it weighed on her. And so I think that's awesome that you could channel that energy and that hope from her. So
Right.
Yes, Esther, that is a great choice.
Esther
yes.
rocks.
Yes.
It's a great book. It's not too long. Read it again.
Yes, absolutely. And so we're going to kind of go back to Mary Magdalene for a little bit. So she's my favorite woman of the Bible. Part of that is like, I mean, there's one point in the Bible where it said she had 7 demons. And I think I look at that and I think, you know, it can mean so many different things. It can mean literal demons. It can mean that she had all these challenges. But she was really struggling. She was really challenged. She had all this turmoil in her life. And the one person who helped her was Jesus. And even though she had those struggles, even though she had that turmoil in her life, she turned to Christ. And she followed Christ, and through Christ, she was able to rise above all that. And she really, truly became a beacon of hope. When Christ was crucified on the cross, he rose from the dead. And the first person he encountered was Mary Magdalene, because she was that beacon of hope for Christianity. So it kind of made me think Psalms 35. It says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And that's something that I try to look back at, and I try to remember in my life through my struggles, is that it is okay to be upset. It is okay to be frustrated. It is okay to be angry. It is okay to cry. Mm-hmm. You have that experience in the night, but there's always hope for tomorrow. So that joy comes tomorrow. It comes in the morning, and that joy comes through Christ. And I think Mary Magdalene was one of those women that could see that. As soon as she turned to Christ, her life changed dramatically, and she became an influential woman in biblical days. And still today. So that's why she's one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I definitely think she like exudes hope. And so I turn to her and I think, oh my gosh, like if she can do it, mm-hmm. I can do it.
Because she had 7 demons in her and turned to Christ and was a Christian.
Yes. Yes.
And it really is one of those things where even when you feel like you're doing something that you go like, oh, this is Christian of me.
Yes, absolutely.
It's human of you, though.
It's human of you, absolutely. And I think that's something we also need to remember is we are human, and that these feelings and these thoughts, they happen because we are human, but Christ helps us rise above that. So
that's true.
Yes. So, well, this is kind of a brief coffee and conversation, but thank you so much for joining us, Emily. I want to have you back, do this again. It was so much fun. So we will come back next week for Coffee and Conversations. We will see you Thursday at 8 o'clock. And don't forget, on last week's Coffee and Conversation, we do have a survey out for you to vote who your favorite woman of the Bible is. So go check that out, and we will reveal the results next Thursday. See you then. Bye.